This is what I've experienced when I was 25. I went to Gavin's house with Alexa, my best friend back then, and her boyfriend. Gavin was a guy I just got acquainted with. After we drank and hung out together, Alexa and her boyfriend went into a separate room for their own romance. Then my partner Gavin stared at me and said, "Shall we start our love too?" However, I refused to because I wasn't ready to develop a deep relationship with him yet. Then he suddenly said, "Then let's play hide and seek." I was a bit perplexed at the moment, but I decided to accept it in order to break the awkwardness. I went into my room, then I heard his voice from afar. "The time limit is 20 minutes. If I find you within that time, you'll become mine." I crawled under the bed, giggling. After a while, I started to hear something breaking outside. I started having doubts that he was up to something, but decided to just wait. Then I heard his voice from the hallway. "You have to hide well. Otherwise, it's not fun." Then I heard something being smashed, and the sound got closer and closer. It was just a game, but somehow I started to feel more and more anxious. The moment I was thinking about leaving, suddenly a hammer penetrated the door. I almost screamed in surprise, but I kept my mouth shut with my hands. Then he opened the door and entered the room. He was breathing heavily and was carrying a huge hammer. I started to shiver. Is he playing a joke? All kinds of thoughts disturbed my mind. Then, after a while, he slammed the closet with a hammer with all his might. There was a loud roar, and the closet door slammed open. Then he said, "Ah, she's not here? Too bad. If she was hit, I would have been a good shot." I realized what's happening when I saw him swinging the hammer. It wasn't a joke. He was insane. He picked up the hammer again and walked slowly around the room. I sat under the bed watching him move with bated breath. After a while, he stood in front of the bed. I almost stopped breathing. He suddenly took a deep breath and spoke softly. "I can hear your heartbeat from here." Then he removed the mattress from the bed, threw it away, and slammed the frame of the bed with his hammer. The wood crumbled and the hammer pierced right next to my head. He shouted, staring at me through the gap in the frame. "I missed the mark!" I crawled out, screamed, and ran frantically out of the room. He held back his hammer and followed me. I ran frantically down the hallway and slid down the stairs. He was following closely behind me. Then suddenly, the alarm rang. He stood still abruptly, looking at his watch, and said, "Time is up." He stood there blankly and said, "Let's play one more game, huh? There are so many places to hide in my house." My whole body was shaking, and I said, "I'm sorry, and that I have to go home." And he kept holding on to me, saying, "It's a shame." I left his house, got into my car, started it, and I heard his voice behind me. "Just one more game, please. I really want to have you." I immediately left the place and called the police. The police arrived at his house and discovered something shocking. At his house, Alexa and her boyfriend were found dead, their bodies squashed flat together. It turned out that Gavin had hammered them down over and over again. But Gavin was not seen in the house, and when the police searched throughout the house, he was hiding inside a closet, then burst out and swung his hammer at the officer. One policeman was seriously injured, and Gavin was shot by the police and died on the spot.